So yeah, I was talking to the lady, man. She was like, she's doing that extravaganza.
Yeah.
Where I think she said from like Tuesday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Where it's a cigar lounge. They do showcase cigars. They're gonna have food, wine tasting all through those days. She was like, "Won't you come do your show?" For 3 days, like Thursday, Friday. So I don't want to be down there for the Super Bowl anyway. But they try to do that. I was thinking like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, doing that and just having, because I got a show of my own.
Yeah.
That's well, I didn't. It's all on paper. I didn't do anything yet, but I explained it to her. So she was like, "Look, won't you just come do it? Because it's called a Pros Pro, something like that, where you just interview on people that are professional people. It could be anybody, but since it's gonna be all athletes there,
right? Why not?
Right.
Get that,
and then just take it. So I'm trying to get, if I can, I'm gonna try to get 3 of those in a day.
Right.
Because that'd mean that's 9.
Right.
And then, because what you want to do, as far as messing around with television stations, because that's what I'm geared to. Is like once you start, they like to see full seasons of stuff.
Right.
So if you look like you can maintain a full season, somebody might bite.
Right.
Because it's too much cheese in this stuff, man. Because they give away stuff. Because all you doing is, they already pay for advertising, but now they don't have to, and they got somebody like you.
Right.
Because you already got a following, and then they giving you whoever sponsored it is, dude. They just want stuff hanging up. They giving you liquor. They giving you, it's just crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was just talking to, that's right, soon. The dude Kenneth, Kenneth, and the lady that I know. I talked to her yesterday. Her name's Red Title, Red Smith, whatever. But I was telling you, she was like, she wanted to know. She wanted to have a synopsis actually for the show, like what it was talking about and how it flowed, so I can get that to her, because she knows people that food sponsors and liquor sponsors and all that stuff. She was like, "So what do y'all need?" I was like, shit, capital, sponsors, whatever, you know, airtime.
Yeah.
Because you can pay for airtime, but somebody can give it to you too, depending on what's going on.
Right.
So that's what we were talking about yesterday. So being that I ain't in my situation no more, it's like, shit. Where you at? Oh, I'm in LA. All right, I'm coming.
All right.
Where you at? Florida. I'm coming. So I can go see people now. I ain't worried about none of that.
Right.
Craziness, man. So it's time for me to open that back up. I should have never closed it, but under the circumstances, is what it is.
Right. You gotta do what you gotta do in that moment.
Yep.
To make everything still try to work. But yeah, I was doing a little writing too at one point.
Really? What, writing what?
Just like I was trying to write I was starting to write a show, like my show, and it was like just the norm, like a show about me.
Talk show.
No, like
Let me get this. Yo. What? I can't hear you. Well, you probably got it. Well, it's I know it's a way online you can through email and stuff, because I did that before. But look, where you at? Okay, I'm gonna call you back because I'm at this sports show right now. So I'll call you back when I get up out of here, or I'll just text you or something. But yeah, I believe that you can online with the account. Yep, with the bank account, especially if you have the same bank. All right.
Yeah, I was doing a joint just like a regular show, like a sitcom, like a Martin or like something. Yeah. Like a show, like
I got a format for all that stuff, man.
Yeah, like I had this joint, like I was writing, but I ain't never get deep in it.
Yeah, you
but
was
like
throwing it around.
Yeah, but like one of my shows was how did it go? I had a joint where but I never like wrote a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'll be at work and then like a skit would come up for the show. You know what I mean? But I never like went deep in and wrote 30 minutes of it or whatever. But like the one joint was me and my mom come in the house and my mom slamming the door and my wife like what's wrong? And so we went over to the Section 8 office,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get some food stamps. So I tell the Section 8 people that my mom.
You can look at that when you get finished talking.
I tell the Section 8 people my mom can eat two full refrigerators. So, so my mom tell my wife that she, yeah, you gonna tell me I can eat 2 full. I said we got more food stamps, right? So then she was like, I'm gonna get you back. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm gonna get you back. And then so my wife went upstairs to get dressed. I said, where you going at? She's like, I'm gonna go out in like 30 minutes. So I'm like, okay, well I got 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes of wearing you out. 30 minutes, you know what I mean? So then she looked at me and I'd be like, I got 5. I said,
You got the comedy joint going.
So so then I was like, cause that's my lane, really. Like joking is my lane. So then I was like, well, don't act like after that. I said, don't act like after that. What I say? Shit. I said something like, don't act like round 2 ain't gonna follow up or something like that. And I can't remember exactly. She was like, yeah, if you don't fall asleep after the first one. So then my mom said she's gonna get me back. So my mom said, ooh, she called you the medicine. So I said, what's the medicine? She said, 1 a day. You know what I mean? So then she kicked her foot out, you know what I mean, on the couch and pointed at me. She talking about 1 a day. You know what I mean? So that was that was scared. And then like another one I had.
Well, all that stuff goes together, man.
Yeah.
But when you like, what I found out was, no matter what it is, whether it's a show, comedy, it all can go into anything.
Yeah.
Because I was doing it for a minute. I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep this over here for this.
Right.
I'm gonna keep that for that.
Yeah.
Nah. I started writing because I got a movie that I'm writing right now. I got writer's block and I stopped. But I started using some of the stuff that I was talking about holding, putting it right in there. Yeah, like, cause that's what writers do, man. They tell you, man. They was like, look, just write.
Right.
Don't be. Once you start thinking too much, that's when you just write, man.
Right.
Whatever it is, right? Cause you don't have to use it, but it's written.
Right.
So you might end up referring to that on something else.
Totally different, yeah.
Cause you wrote it down.
Right.
You know
Like
what I'm saying?
like the comedy skits is like it's just a second hand to me. Like my man wanted me to host his joint and everything. You know what I mean? I had this whole host, but the show ended up getting canceled. Like, the comedy is like just easy to me, like real easy.
Yeah. That's your twist.
You know what I mean? So, like I even wrote a joint for Tyler Perry. I sent it to him, and when I sent it to him, the damn building caught on fire. You remember the building caught on fire like probably like 6 years ago. His building's caught on fire. I said he wasn't gonna see it if the buildings didn't catch on fire. I said, now the building's caught on fire. Ain't no way he seen that.
You sent it. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. But I had a joint with you ever watched the joint House of Pain?
Yeah.
So
my brother was on that.
Oh yeah? So you followed a lot then?
No, I didn't. At the time, I was in and out. I never sat down like watched it completely to know the ins and outs. But
all right.
he was on the
Testing
episode
1,
of
2,
it, and I watched
1,
it.
2.
And then he knows, cause you know what you call him from up this way. Damn, Alan Payne. You know he's from Jersey.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he right from South Jersey.
All right. So he well, you know House of Pain. You know the grandmama and grandpop is the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the skit where they going through a divorce, and they going through a divorce. They about to divorce, and it's killing the whole family. Like the kids, the grandkids is messing up in school.
Right.
They getting suspended. You know, they fighting in school. The nephew and the son, they going through it with their wives. They arguing with their wives. I said so. The CJ, they get together. Yeah.
Because I'm about to
Testing.
test it 1, 2, 3. I'm ready. I'm about to hit go live.
I'll tell you about it.
And then all right, I'm gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go live.
You got them vocals up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we've been talking. It's been easy to get it on.
Here we go. All right, Sports Talk Live. I'm about to switch to the full shot.
Yeah. Oh, if it went to your phone?
What's that?
The sports thing.
No. That was just going on. Oh, but he just tagged me, so
Yeah.
it must have been him.
Y'all ready?
Yep. On you.
Yeah. Just open it. Open it up. But turn it down.
Mm-hmm. Where we at? There we go.
I'm gonna cut to all this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut. Sports Talk Live from the ranch. How y'all doing today, fellas?
We good. We back. I'm
I'm
back.
I'm multitasking the damn, running the boards and hosting the show.
Somebody got to do it.
You know, it's all about that work. You put in that work. You got to do. You got to grind to get it in, and get it done. How's it going, Jonathan?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing straight. I'm all right.
Fine. Good. Duke, how you doing?
I'm good. Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay. Let's jump into the NFL. NFL preseason has started. We've been rapping and talking about that. One of the big things that's happening in the preseason, I think one of the major things is right now, as we talk, is about the new tackling rule. And everybody has, they're trying to keep everybody to keep their heads up. They're trying to have everybody out here safe and secure. But, at the end of the day, football is football. At the same time, it's going to be difficult to be able to change the culture because I think, growing up, I was always taught no man wins in football. And we were always taught to get leverage, get low. And I think and just a natural inclination when you're coming in with to duck your head. Like right. There's something natural about if you're running into somebody's about to hit you to get low. Like you want to get low when you're dealing with that kind of situation. What's your guys' take on it? Been a lot of calls in the preseason. And they say in the preseason they try to, really force it, really put it into the players' minds. We're going to call it, even though something that may not be called in the regular season, they're definitely going to call it in the preseason to try to make sure that they get the message across to the players.
Well, listen, one thing that has not changed, and this goes way back to like midget football, was you want to be able to see what you hit.
Yeah.
So we can say that now. Whether or not that's being taught on a midget level, and the high school level, and college and pro, then that's another story. But I know for me, if I was out there, like, I don't think that I would want to use my head, even if I'm on offense.
Exactly.
Or defense. Just because we know the helmet is there just to protect your head. It's not supposed to be used as a weapon. And on top of that, in the history of football, once the head is lowered and you can't see, you've seen guys that have had some tragic injuries. And let's from being paralyzed to even just Ryan Shazier this past. It's not something that you want to do, and I know instinct takes over on a lot of times when the game starts going on. You trying to make this
and
hit.
You're fatigued.
Yeah, and you're fatigued. You just want to just make the tackle, but dropping that head, man, is it's vital for everyone. You ultimately you don't want the player to get hurt, and it's just something that nobody wants to see. But the league, I can say this about the league. One thing we do know is that they're all about safety now, which is fine. But at the same time, sometimes your head is just going to get in the way, right? It's just going to get in the way. And I think that they need to make a decision on, what is legal and what's not illegal. Because if I'm falling down and it's nothing that I can do about that, and the guy's falling down,
or he
and
ducks, like you're going to make a tackle, and all of a sudden he ducks, and you hit him helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
But you were actually waist level,
right?
Like you trying to,
It's accidental. It's accidental. So I don't think that you can make the calls when it's an accident, because they game changers. Yeah. 3rd and 10, right? It's an accidental head-to-head. You throw a flag, and it's 2 minutes left, and it's an opportunity for this team to get the ball. You killed them. Yeah. So it's tough. It's a tough situation.
It's real tough, and what I don't like it is because the era I came up watching football, like, when I came up watching football, when you guys came up watching football, I'm not saying taking nothing from y'all, but when I came up watching football, I feel like my generation was the stronger, faster. It's not like y'all generation might have been stronger, but with the speed of our running backs,
the combination
of the linebackers, like a Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was one of the first linebackers I really was really watched and really knew was the real deal. So with my generation of watching, you know, with the Sean Taylors, with the Brian Dawkins at safety, you know, seeing clips of Steve Atwater or whatever, you sold so much as an NFL on these big hits. You know, you ban these big hits, but then
NFL Crunch Course.
And then if I go watch a video, I'm looking at all the hits that you flag people for 10,000.
Right.
Like, so it's like, how can you flag me for 10,000 and then play it on TV and sell it?
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
And then I see it on Madden. You know, I see all the hits that you're flagging on a video game. You know, so
like for the longest time, the crackback was beautiful, wasn't it?
Right.
It was like, he's not looking. Oh, I gotta get him. Keep your head on the swivel.
And so these kids that's here now, they grew up watching these big hitters.
Right.
You know, they grew up like, you know, your generation was more rapping. They didn't. My generation, they didn't grow up rapping. They grew up using their shoulder.
Right.
You know, to knock you unconscious. Like they don't.
From the NFL Crunch Course.
Right.
From the tapes you hit, the big hits, people trying to make those spectacular hits. Now, don't get me wrong, we grew up with Tatum too. Now Jack Tatum, you know what I mean?
Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott.
No, I'm not taking that away from you.
Yeah. But exactly, when you're talking about the tackling aspect of it, it was more hitting than tackling. And a lot of times everybody was going for them big hits. And I think a lot of it had to do with you couldn't touch the receivers at the line of scrimmage. Remember, they did all. So the receivers were running at full speed because it was really no bump and run. You really couldn't touch them after 5 yards, hands off. So now you got receivers running full speed, and you got D-backs back there full speed.
Right.
So there was really, you know, back in the day, 70s, when you played bump and run, as long as the ball was in the air, you can get, you know, up close and personal, touchy-feely. It was a slower game. But now, for that period where the receivers couldn't be touched and they're flying down the field, and you got your safeties flying, and, you know, you trying to make a living, trying to send a message.
Right.
And that's what they're happening. That's what they're trying to clean up. They're trying to clean up the use of the helmet. And I guess you got to go to the extreme to really send the message home. And usually that's what they try to do in the preseason, is try to send a message home. They'll call things they may not call in the regular season, but they're going to be, if it's even a question or close, they'll call it. You know, like the personal fouls, like if something makes you go, right. Throw the flag, whether it's clean.
The flag, look, the oop made you throw the flag, right?
Yeah.
Or the
yeah. So you try to throw the flag and just to keep the game safe or whatever. I was talking to Charles Thompson, coach of the Panthers, Chester, and he was saying they were looking into like rugby style tackling, getting your head out the way, things along those lines, and doing real good. So I mean, basically all those things that you're trying to do in football, you're trying to take and do that, and that'll be like, you know, trying to get the kids protected and everything like that. Is that laptop on? Yeah, just close the lid. Yeah, just trying to get protected from doing, you know, the safety messages is out there. So I think that's pretty good. Let's jump into division. AFC West. AFC West division. You got the Kansas City Chiefs that won it last year. You got the Denver Broncos, the San Diego Chargers, the Oakland Raiders. This division, a lot of rivalries, hotly contested, you know, as usual. You know, coming in. The Kansas City Chiefs, who won the division last year, Alex Smith is gone. They're moving in with a new quarterback. But one of the big things is the return of John Gruden,
right?
Chucky. And he's going back to Oakland, where the last time they were relevant was pretty much when he was there.
Right.
I mean, they went to the Super Bowl the year after he left, and he beat them at Tampa Bay. But Gruden's back. What kind of influence do you think Gruden will have on the Oakland Raiders?
Well, I think that is
the soon to be Los Angeles Raiders.
Right. I think is yet to be seen, just because. I mean, what year was it when he coached Los Angeles?
2000s.
All right, so we rolling up on 20 years, right?
Yeah.
We do not have the same players. You know, they do not have the same mentality they had back 20 years ago. They different cookies now, you know? So I think the biggest thing is, can he adapt to how they are, as opposed to can they adapt to how he is? Right. Because guess what? The last I checked, it's probably only one guy right now in the league that the players can't get rid of, and that's probably Belichick, right? If somehow
maybe
happens,
maybe the Giants coach.
Well, they got a new coach now, don't they, Giants?
Yeah,
they got rid of him.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
So yeah, so with that being said, it's like you know, he has to you know, be this player's coach now, right?
Level of expectations.
Yeah, because you know, 20 years ago, you probably didn't have to be a player's coach. You could probably just could say what you want, and it just had to be your way. Now with these guys coming on now, you better be catering to them a little bit more now, or he's an all-pro. He's your best player, and he gets with the running back, and he gets with this guy, and he gets with that guy, and guess what? Soon you're out of here. Does the name Chip Kelly remind you of anything?
Yeah, I mean,
some stuff went awry, and the players got together. Yeah. The players talked to the owner. Next thing you know, we said Chip was gone.
And Chip let some great talent out of that.
Yeah, yeah. So that just lets you know right there. Now,
speaking of that, the whole Khalil Mack situation, like he hasn't reported. I mean, he hasn't, been in camp. He's not, the talk now is that the Packers and the Chicago Bears are top to get him. More of a money issue, more of a franchise issue, a coaching issue, but he's their premier all-pro, only all-pro at linebacker and defensive end on record that I know of to make all-pro at both positions same year. But he's moving on. Like it looks like he's not going to be on the Raiders. Is that a part of this new coaching philosophy? Like, he's not. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Bad. That's not gonna help Gruden either. But I think he needs to as far as the coach. I think he will adapt. As far as what we were talking about, I think he will adapt. And I think the good thing about him is none of the coaches ever leave sports, but from him being in the booth watching sports, analyzing it on a day-to-day, talking about it on a day-to-day, he's looking at 16 games and he's watching, he's seeing what's going on, he's seeing what's going wrong, and he gets his quarterback back. I believe his quarterback was hurt most of the season last year, right? I believe Carr was hurt, so he gets him back, and I believe that's gonna that'll definitely help him out also. But yeah, with the linebacker situation, I don't, somebody gotta. Is he holding out for money? What is it about?
Well, he wants a contract. He wants to get paid.
It's his final year, right? He wants to go. He doesn't want to go to the open market, which is
he was look. I've proven myself.
Right.
I want to be one of them highest paid contract guys. I think what's happening with the players and player in different positions, especially defensive players, I think they're seeing the contracts that the quarterbacks are getting.
Yeah.
And if you got a quarterback on our team, they have a good quarterback, star quarterback, but they're saying, hey, if a quarterback can get paid this money just because he's a quarterback, and I'm having more impact on the team's winning or losing, a Duke like Bell, running back for the Steelers, the percentage of the offense that he says, I want $20 million guaranteed a year too, because I'm clearly catching, receiving, and I'm important to the offense. So I think now the defensive players are looking, and players that are the best player on the team, they're saying, hey, I want to be paid as the best player of the team. I want to be played as the best linebacker.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with any of that, because you look at, what you mean to that team. If you're a difference maker, which Bell, Mack, they are difference makers. Like, you can't just take somebody and just plug them in and think the beat is going. It just doesn't work like that with certain players. And I think it's. The leverage is leaning towards the players because they have a legitimate excuse to why they need to get this money.
Right.
Now, I think the NFL and these teams are solely looking at, okay, you are a running back. You're supposed to only be making this.
You're slotted in this position, in this salary.
We got to get away from that because guess what? Bell is the best back out here. And he's not only a running back, he's a receiver, he's a blocker. He's the most complete back that a lot of us have seen in a long time.
Yeah. And
he wants to be paid like that, and I don't have a problem.
That's absolutely what happened with Jimmy Grant. Jimmy Grant said, y'all got to play me like a receiver, not a tight end.
Yeah.
He said, I line up wide every play.
Right.
That was the whole point. Yeah.
That was a big thing with Jimmy Grant, and they weren't trying to pay him, only people on defense to get the big money is the defense end.
Right.
He normally gets paid. Your homie from the Texans, he got that big money.
Right. The reason why probably Aaron Donald right now is still unable to get a deal done because you see a guy of his stature and then you say, okay, wait a minute, because we're programmed too.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, what is he even doing? Asking for $20 million a year? He can't do that. He's on the D line. Nah, it's look at his play, right? And he probably can tell you the same thing. Watch these games.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can't box him,
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. I think that's in the money as it gets more and more, and you get more and more as the cap rises. Players will look. I'm in this thing for the short haul now. I think with the CTE, they're trying to get guaranteed contracts and do 7 or 8 years and call it quits.
Right.
Another guy in the AFC, probably the most important guy coming up is Patrick Holmes, quarterback.
Love the kid.
Quarterback, Kansas City. They moved on from Alex Smith. He has an arm. He has all the tools. Can make all the throws. This is a big year for him and Andy. I mean, Andy Reid has groomed a lot of quarterbacks and done a lot of work with quarterbacks.
Great situation for him.
Definitely, getting quarterbacks to play and do well. That's something Andy Reid and people under him can do. I mean, going back to his days of being under Mike Holmgren in Green Bay. So you got Holmes in there now, and it's the key. Like, it goes down to coaching and the quarterbacks. The only people that have a record, and the people are already talking about his deep pass. He already threw a touchdown pass longer than any touchdown pass last year.
He threw a deep touchdown pass under Andy Reid. So he's good. He's not keeping him in the box. Last time I checked, Andy, he might have been one of the kings of the check down.
But he got him airing it out. He made quarterbacks. Yeah, so
good. Glad to hear it.
Got him airing it out, and I think Kansas City. It's going to be interesting. They won a division last year. Coming back this year, they kind of fell apart at the end of the season. They kind of went in a slump, but it's going to be him. But the other, getting back, they're talking about, and which is the team that always seems to make a run at the end of the year, but quite not get in, the San Diego Chargers. The San Diego Chargers, God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the San Diego Chargers, they're coming back, looking to do they have a defense. They have the two pass rushers. They have Rivers, the veteran quarterback. God bless you. So they're looking to take the division. A lot of people feel that the San Diego Chargers are the team to beat and come up in this division. What do you think about the Chargers?
I think the Chargers. The Chargers is the team that's been just been there. They got a quarterback that's been throwing for 4,000 yards every season. And just doesn't get. He just can't get over the slump. It was a bad time. He was coming up. With the Brady's, the Paytons, and everybody. So he was getting left out. He was getting cut short. For MVPs and everything else. But I think the Raiders. I think the Raiders are gonna get back together. I think the Raiders, and I think for the young quarterback, I think he can look like a superstar at Kansas City because he's following up behind a boring quarterback, in Alex Smith. When you're so plain, when somebody wears plain colors in the day they come out with some bright colors, it's like, whoa, I didn't know you could put that on,
Right.
Well,
it feels
like, it feels like more that,
because that's what happened with Alex Smith. I mean, with Alex Smith and, that's what happened with Alex Smith at San Fran, when he left, and then, the guy followed up behind him.
Right.
Kaepernick, yeah.
Kaepernick followed up.
We could do a little more, a little dynamic run or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind. But they would seem sign more. It seems McComb has more arm talent.
Yeah.
McComb's going to sit back there and fire darts.
Right.
And fire all over the field, fire deep.
Upside is just
Everybody that's been in their camp says, hey, this guy looks like the real deal.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like the truth. That's what everybody's been saying coming out of the camp. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I think the division, if you had me to put it, I would go, because I'm not sold on the Chargers because they picked up Derwin James in the draft, who kind of fell to him at the safety. That's a key position. You got Bosa, you got Ingram, so you got the defense. But when you're playing games at the end of the year, when you're out and it's a miracle to get you in, you play with no pressure.
Right.
Like, to play all year and try to maintain that. They haven't shown me they could do that
throughout the years. They just, listen, Phillip Rivers, he's a stone, We know we're going to get from him. He has heart, and I'm behind him. But year in after year out, like, we know where they're going. They're not going to be a 12-4 team. They're not going to be 10-6. They're going to be skating around somewhere, trying to get in. Hopefully they'll get in. So, for me, it's Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. I mean, the Broncos. I mean, they
we haven't talked about it. I mean,
searching for this quarterback.
Listen.
I'm gonna tell you. I want to say I just want to give him a props for moving up and taking Patrick Lynch because Dallas wanted Patrick Lynch, and that saved us. I just want to say as a Cowboy fan, thank you, Denver Broncos, because he is. They started to GoFundMe to cut him and pay the Broncos to pay his salary. Yeah,
I like Kelly's son.
Ooh.
Kelly's son is the backup. He was the third on the depth chart.
His nephew.
His nephew?
His nephew.
All right, I like his nephew. He was the third.
Ole Miss.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his nephew.
He was the third on the depth chart. He's number 2 now.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
And I like him. I like how he moves. He knows where the first down is at. He takes off.
Not a lot of pressure on him though.
Yeah,
I mean, like that kind of like a lot of pressure. I mean, they got Chubb. They're going to try to pair him up and become the next great defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
They lost their cornerbacks and everything like that, but they could be quietly and fly under the radar and mile high, But I think because if you're looking at definitely. It's on the Raiders with Gruden coming in. That splash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then you got...
It's like new, fresh energy, and we got the pieces.
And everybody been waiting for Gruden.
They've been trying to get him.
It don't even feel like he's been away for 20.
Nah, because we seen him. Yeah, he's around. It wasn't like he's been in a hole in the man cave watching games.
I thought he was going to come to San Fran at one point. Everybody, thought he
probably
was
was.
Come back. Is we going to get Gruden? They going to get Gruden?
Yeah, that's definitely where the pressure is.
It was a lot of teams that was just looking that just needed a coach. You could tell that the team had it. They just need somebody,
definitely
perfect for Gruden right now.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the NFC West. You got the 49ers. You got the Rams who've gone all in. The Rams have gone all in.
The heavyweight fight about to happen.
All the chips. Yeah. Put them to the table this year. They're gonna make a run. While their quarterback is still underpaid, they're gonna try to do it. So we're gonna
Rams is gonna burn.
Yeah, we're gonna take
crash and burn.
All right, we're gonna be back in a few minutes.
We'll see.
Live from the Ranch Sports Talk.
Rams, man, they all or nothing.
Welcome back.
Break
Sports
time's
Talk
over.
Live from the
Yes,
ranch. We back. We in here. I'm sipping an adult libation. Definitely, we left off with the AFC West. Now we want to talk about the NFC West. The NFC West.
Trouble.
Trouble. Specifically, let's talk about the Rams.
Yeah.
The Rams have put all the chips to the table. Not quite all of it. They got one big chip sitting out there, which is their all.
Which is the biggest chip.
Which is the biggest chip. They're
Right.
the defensive player of the year.
Yes.
From a defensive tackle position, Aaron Donald, University of Pittsburgh, 11 sacks last year, countless hurries, disruption, force. They have to bring him in. They have Sue. They got two corners from Denver. They got two all Pro Bowl corners. They paid their running back Gurley. He's not worried about anything now. He's going to be running hard. Paid their wide receiver. They're taking advantage of Goff, their quarterback, their young quarterback, under his rookie contract. So he's not getting that big quarterback money.
Right.
So now they have gone all in and said, look, we're going to try to win this thing. It's like we're bringing in all the chips. They got one last chip to bring in. They bring in Donald. What do you think? Are the Rams the team to beat, not just in this division, but in the league and the NFC?
To me, you gotta, the champs is, but I definitely in this division. Like, it's not even, I'm a Niners fan, but when you already pretty much was there, and then you add the pieces you added, then your players got a little more, another year. Gurley got another year of growth on him. Goff got another year of growth on him. When you add all that to it, it's only right that you could say that they're the team to beat in that division. But coming out, I think they're probably 1 and 2. To me, it seems like they're putting a team together to beat the Eagles more than to beat the Niners. I feel like they got the Niners already beat.
Yeah.
They feel like the Niners.
Nobody's worrying about the Niners right now, which is going to be scary for them.
Right. It feel like the team they put together is to beat the Eagles. Which it should be. That's the team right now that just got the ring. And,
most definitely.
And go back to what we were just talking about, like not paying these defensive players. You know, how do you pay Gurley and not play him? Like, how does that make And I know the offense is prima donnas. We always say
the offense has the numbers. I think the offense.
It's definitely a numbers thing.
They want it to be an offensive league. Let's be all the rules favor the offense now. They're trying to want more points, more excitement. Red zone. Red zone isn't for the quarterback's about to get sacked. The red zone is about for people about to score. Right. So you got everything about points, and trying to market their product.
But you don't
with
pay
the
the
points.
guy that's stopping the points. And
Right.
pretty much now, to me, he's the best player on your team. Like,
Exactly.
To me, he's the best player in the NFL.
The Eagles did it with Fletcher Cox. They played their best player.
Not only is he the best defensive player, he's the best player on your team, and that's to me, some things is bad messages to me. Like, if I'm a free agent, I'm coming up on free agent. Do I want to go there? Like some things are just bad messages. That you sending to a defensive player. That we're not gonna play you. We're gonna play a running back. that did this and did that for a year. Did all right the year before. So it's like, and I'm out here giving my all.
Yeah. I think it comes down to for their situation. I think it just comes down to that dollar. Like I said before, we look at Aaron Donald. Like we can say, look, he's the best defensive player in the league. Right. We can say that. But it comes down to numbers. Right? It comes down to that dollar. If a tackle has been paid $12 million, let's say that's tops. I don't know what the tops dollar is for highest paid tackles.
Right.
But then he comes up to the table and he says, listen, I want to get $20 million.
Right.
You talking about an $8 million gap that I gotta pay a man that somebody has never been paid before.
Right.
So now you gotta look at yourself because it's never been done. We talked about that. It's never been done. So why do I have to pay you $20 million when the market value for tackles is $12?
Yeah.
So that makes the owners and the general managers they gotta check themselves now.
Right.
Now, how important is this guy? Is he? Like, I'm on the player side, but I understand business.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, okay.
It's about winning.
Yeah.
And I think about if you're the best player, you're the best player.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable is irreplaceable.
Yeah. And you're not going to plug anybody in there.
It don't matter if I'm the kicker. If I'm putting that ball inside the 10
every
night,
single time.
irreplaceable is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it comes down to the kind of, I guess they're saying you can find more defensive tackles impacting you can find quarterbacks or whatever that could be impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's
right.
the way it goes.
But you're paying a quarterback that's not impactful.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem I don't get. You're not going to pay a defensive player that's the best defensive player, but you're paying a quarterback that's not even in the top 15 this money.
In this division, you're talking about Sam Bradford.
Somebody he raped the league, you know.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him.
But, it's all, and in the day, look, everybody. If people want that potential to say, "Look, man, he got that potential. I think he got the potential. I can do it."
You paid me.
And I got $8 million. So I got 15. I got 20 million. You're like, yeah, you take it.
Bull's not even in the top 15.
Living in America.
Yeah. So I mean, Sammy's thinking Slammy.
Now I'm thinking about Sam Bradford. I used to always say,
and he still got a job.
Yeah, he's on the Cardinals. He's
so
in
now I gotta
Rosen is going to
rewrite
start
my words because I used to always say, if Eli's last name wasn't Payton, he wouldn't be in the league. But Eli, I think, did better than Sam Bradford. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, they're so
here.
desperate for quarterback.
Right, but I always said Eli wouldn't be in the league if his last name wasn't Payton. I say he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
about
Eli,
he's
Manning.
It's a stretch.
Yeah.
Eli
Payton
wasn't
Manning. Yeah, Payton.
But they had a stretch though. But he had a straight. Eli had a great stretch. But I mean, I think when you look at it, and that's the whole thing about this thing on quarterbacks and when quarterbacks get paid, and everybody's looking for the next quarterback, the next franchise quarterback. And it's funny if you go back to the NFL in the 80s. The AFC had all the quarterbacks: Marino, Elway, Kelly. They had the quarterbacks.
Boomer Esiason. You know,
Richard Todd was okay. You going back to Fouts. You going back, you know.
Jim Zorn,
all that. But they would get crushed in that Super Bowl for like 16, 17 straight years.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the team.
Yeah.
And I think
team and timing.
And team and timing. I think the one thing about I say about the NFL now is Howie Long said the quarterbacks get all the money. You go tackle the guy with all the money, then they pay you a lot of money because you're getting the guy with a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you look at how the NFL is set up now, the pass rush is the key thing. You can't do anything with these wide receivers out in front. You really can't cover. You really can't get physical. So only thing you can do is to make a Casey Keenum, who's okay, look terrible, and make your great quarterbacks think about, this week, make sure you block this guy. Yeah, and then get them off a little bit. But all the rules and everything is for the offense and for the quarterbacks. You're definitely, a lot of people, it's interesting, a lot of people are wondering, there'll be defensive head coaches or defensive coordinators getting head coach job because the league is so pro offense.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just,
that's the one thing that can't be denied. If you sit here and tell me that it's not pro offense, then like something is happening with you, you know, just because of how it is. But to the Rams, history shows when you take these free agents and you go put them all together and they are the most talented, history shows that doesn't work out.
Dream Team Eagles, right?
It just shows that it doesn't work out.
And they putting out some quality dudes.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, they're giving Wade Phillips.
But see, this is the difference.
Sue, and they get Donald in.
Yeah, and this is
you pay a head case Sue, but you don't take care of your own.
That's my boy. Why you calling him a head case?
If that's your boy, you know he's a head case.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this.
If we ain't winning,
well, I'm gonna tell you this. Out of 11 guys on your offense, 5 or 6 of them better have head cases if you're trying to win. You don't need choir boys on that defense.
Mean Joe Green.
Something better be wrong with somebody. Somebody better be something better. Not all, but something better be wrong.
It wasn't.
I need a bar fight every once in a while.
It wasn't a sweet and cuddly Joe Green.
Oh no, not at all.
Mean Joe Green.
I wonder where that came from.
Mean Joe Green. Now you need everybody on your squad, and you need guys like that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You got guys, but they got to be about football though.
Oh yeah,
it can't be about. Yes. They still got to be about football. It's just like life.
Hey,
you live on 5th Street. 6th Street is acting the fool. Well, go get Rodney. No, Rodney always giving us hell, but we need Rodney because we're about to go get 6th Street.
Yeah. I always put out there, one of my favorite sayings was, and you can mark it down, was, listen, everybody can't drink Old English.
Yeah.
They just can't. You got to have some beer guys.
Yeah.
You got to have some wine guys. You got to have some cigar guys. And you can't just
you need your
jump
Thunderbird,
in.
and you need
and
your Wild Irish Rose.
There you go. But however you want to cut it, we all got to bring it together every once in a while. We can't have everybody drinking malt liquor.
Yeah.
You just can't have it. We need the smooth. We need the balance.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, and that's definitely something that you definitely need. But the one team that seems like it's going in the other direction, we're going to jump to that, is the Seattle.
Oh yeah.
The Seahawks. I mean, the Legion of Boom is no more. We can say the Legion of Boom has.
Shout out to Russell Wilson, though.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it an offensive thing now. You know?
I mean,
he's matured enough.
But that's the transition. And like I tell a lot of people, we get into this argument about running games and that. I said if you look at the Steelers with Roethlisberger, they had Bettis, the bus. It was all about the bus and defense. Peyton Manning had Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
Brady's first years with New England was all about defense and running the ball. It was not about a lot of offense. The rules changed. Belichick changed with them.
The Falcons quarterback also. He throws a lot now, but in the beginning, it was a running team.
It was a running team. Yeah. You know, you got to protect that quarterback with running. I mean, that's the whole 9 yard. I mean, that's what it's all about. And you develop. And once you've been in the NFL 4 or 5 seasons, you start to see different things, different packages, and then you can air it out more. And that's the same thing with Russell Wilson and Beast Mode.
Joe Flacco,
Joe Flacco, that was all about running, defense, run. You know, that's how you get it done. And then, okay, all right, you ready now? We can do a little something.
Right.
I think that's what the boy that was on Kansas City's problem. They went straight into that run and gun team. Like they didn't.
This is speaking about Alex Smith.
Before when they had that. The Bengals. The boy that the Bengals got right now.
You're talking about the redhead. The redhead.
I think that was
the redhead one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was a problem with them.
They had a lot of talent on that team too.
Yeah.
They had receivers though, but they didn't run enough.
Right. They didn't have a back. They didn't have a back to complement.
I don't think they ran enough for that young guy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They just went into throwing.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't take chances though. He wouldn't take chances.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll get into the AFC North, Duke's division. We'll get into that in a week or so.
It's coming.
It's coming. Break that down.
I'm upset at my team.
About the Seattle thing, and we were talking about this earlier off air. Ever since the Super Bowl, when they didn't give the ball to Beast Mode on the
did something to the team.
It did something to the team because then and there, it looked like the team went from. You know, this is not about football. This is not about winning.
Yes.
How we not? It's all about pumping Russell.
Yes.
And the quarterback always has an issue, and especially like the quarterback is an extension of management or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, an African American quarterback always has to look at you with management, whatever, give him that side eye, whatever. That they have to take that. Like you with man. I'm a quarterback. That's what it is.
Well, here's the thing, right? When you start paying, I don't care what profession that you're in, you want to start paying somebody hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. That person's going to be closer to the owner probably than anybody. Let's be serious. He's going to he got that number. He got that number that everybody else don't have. Yeah. You know, like Batman, Robin, remember Commissioner Gordon, the red phone was there, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly if you have you're making that kind of money and like I always say, the owner's wife, who does she take to the benefit? Yeah, the quarterback. Like
quarterback's an extension of an extension of the owner. That's just that. At least that's how you want it. You know.
Yeah. That broke up was because now nobody trusts each other no more. And once you lost that, like they were winning because of the
defense. They were winning because
they hated us. They hated San Fran. You know, and we were one of the best teams. So we can beat San Fran. We can win a Super Bowl. You know, and they hated us and that defense loved rivals,
listen.
You know, and that's what kept them together more than their friendship.
Yeah.
The hate of the other teams is what kept them together. But once they lost all the trust in each other, like everybody just lost trust. They didn't believe the owner, the management, the quarterback.
Here's the thing, right? And this is not me. This is like something that's out there in the universe. I didn't make this up, this statement. Defense wins championships. Right. Like let's check the record, right? Who likes anybody going up and down the field and you scoring points? Like, no, I don't. You know, that's not whose philosophy is that's okay for you to do that and get the ball. Then we go to
Case in point, Duke, I just want to think the Eagles gave up no points in the last 2 minutes last year.
And I'm just
listen. No points last year.
Listen, you the messenger. I put it out there. Like I mean, is that like factual stuff? Like what?
And I think what comes to everybody looks to offensive points, but when I always being a Cowboys fan, we talk about defense or whatever, and never having it, never being able to get to the quarterback and put pressure on. The perfect example was last year with the Eagles when they played Atlanta. They got the stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you get a Case Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
Case Keenum, he's okay, but he's not the real deal. He was exposed by their defense. Whatever. He's exposed by their defense. The Eagles needed 10, 13 offensive points to get to the Super Bowl last year because of their defense. You know, that's what they did. They defense even scored 7 points. But when they got into an offensive shootout, they had the ability to do an offensive shootout in the Super Bowl with Brady.
Exactly.
But the defense got them there, and that's the key point, especially playing at home. You want to be able to terrorize these quarterbacks who ain't up to task, and be able to make the great quarterbacks be like, look, we sure we got this blocked up.
Right.
We sure we got this blocked. You know,
which is, and not to get off of the Seahawks, which is one of the reasons why I am not mad at the Rams for making the moves that they made with these upgrades to Sue, to Peters, to Talib, because you got two corners. Guess what? They got a reputation for being up in your face, and you got a nose tackle that we know he doesn't give a damn
about
right?
anybody.
So
if anybody's
put me on an island,
my team,
put me on 2 islands, right? I'm gonna get some push, right? And then you got an old school veteran defensive coordinator.
It's nothing Wade Phillips hasn't done or seen.
Yeah, so he doesn't give a damn about what you've done previously or what kind of accolades you have. It doesn't. I'm coming to get you. Right. So that's what's in place. So I'm excited as a football fan to see how that's going to play out. I think it's going to work well. Because pressure is pressure.
Yeah, and that was another thing about back to the Seahawks. That was another thing about the Seahawks. How you said you need some head cases.
Oh yeah.
I think the Seahawks had too many. And then even the people.
You think?
Yeah, I think the Seahawks had too many, and I think how they say the 5 rotten apples can mess the whole group up. Yeah. I think even head cases that wasn't head cases from being a part of the Legion of Boom and just being a part of it, they took on that whole.
Yeah. That was the team. But that was their era, like the Bad Boys Pistons, whatever. That was.
I think the offense and the defense had so much ego. I don't think where the.
Well, the offense was kind of we had beast mode, and we didn't really do much with the offensive line. Right. So Russell run around and make plays, and it was good enough, to get them there because of their defense.
Right.
And rush and did things.
Well,
I mean, definitely. I think that's definitely a key. Moving forward for them, they're definitely changing the team into a quarterback team now. You could do with the Steelers how they transitioned and became more offensive oriented team,
which I don't like, but I love it. It's however you want to cut it.
Do you think that he's the quarterback for that job?
Who's this?
Russell.
Oh yeah, Russell's quarterback.
Oh yeah. No question. So listen,
Russell's been running for his life and making plays for they had no offensive line.
Do you think he's a 40 throwing 40 passes a game?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I don't believe that he's built for that because the way
if he got time and protection,
the way to beat Russell is to let him throw. The way to beat Russell is not to blitz. If you blitz Russell, he's
put him on a move. You want to put him, make him throw out the bucket.
But
he's like McNabb 2.0. If you blitz McNabb's going to Houdini his way out of it and make a play.
But
what
defensive coordinator, right?
In the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's one game.
This is the one. This is the one thing.
All the games.
But this is the one thing that you talk about. You talk about like blitzing, and you talk about there's not a defensive coordinator in the history of the game on any level who doesn't think blitz. Why? Because we know about pressure, right? We seen the best when
pressure
something is coming. When something is pressure makes diamonds, right?
But it's pretty hard to get a defensive coordinator job if they call him Sunni. So what's your defensive concept? We rush 4 and sit back in soft cover 2 zones.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes the dirty dogs, we got to send the house. We got to send the house.
But it was so hard.
Nobody says that.
When they had beast mode, though. It was so hard not to send a blitz
without a doubt.
when they had blitz mode. But to me, now that you don't have that they can sit back more. They can run 4. I watched the Rams play them, and that's how the Rams played them, and they almost beat them. And I'm talking about that's when the Rams only won 2 games, and they only lost 2 games. So
well, if you think about it, let's look at the dynamics of when we're talking about Seattle, their team, right? Okay, their team. Now, if we had to say, looking at offense and defense, we can say where are their strengths, right? Like, who's better?
Right.
Is it their offense or their defense? We're going to say defense all day, right? That's a problem within itself because now I'm depending on my defense to win games. And that's how we used to be, Steelers, right?
Yeah. Right.
And like
if you don't let anybody score 17 points, that's all we want. Just give it to 17, we're going to win.
Baltimore too.
Yeah.
Like I used to say, it's you to be a dynasty, you have to have offense to win multiple championships.
Yeah.
It's hard to hold people 16 points for a decade. It's very. Look at Tampa Bay. They held people for 16 points.
Right.
They just needed 17 to 18
that's
points
to win the game.
And that's hard to do, especially with the rules and everything like that.
Oh.
Your multiple title teams had a quarterback that's probably going to get into the Hall or talked about getting to the Hall, and this has some offensive capabilities. Defensive wise, I think, and one of the things that's going forward, you saw the 49ers. The 49ers were a defensive team. Like the 49ers that went to the Super Bowl, they were
Shout
a
out to
defensive
Dwight
team.
Hicks.
Yeah. They went to, and in the most recently they were a defensive team. With Alex Smith lost his job because in that championship game against the Giants, they just couldn't get any points.
Just couldn't get it.
And that's the point. Defense kept
Alex
them in
Smith couldn't throw the ball, fumble. And also the Giants paid that kick returner. They dropped 2 balls.
Now we're getting into gambling.
You done dropped the punt and the kickoff back to back. How you drop the punt and the kickoff?
Well, I mean, sometimes that happens.
Ted Ginn is out injured. If Ted Ginn is in, Niners get in, man. Ted Ginn might be run one of them joints back.
And that's the whole point. I mean, that's the object of it. Like you're looking at the defense and just holding you and keeping you in the games. And that's what eventually that's why we say defense wins championship, but the quarterback gets to go to the dance of the prime. Like
hey, listen, if we've seen all the time where you have a great defense, right? And the defense will look. We already talked about what we needed on defense. The defense will look at these quarterbacks. The defense will look at this offensive coordinator, running backs, everybody over there, and say, "Listen, if you score 21 points." That's all I need you to do. I don't need you to do anything else. Just go. We gonna take care of everything else.
Don't put my people in harm's way.
That's it.
And to me, I'm looking at this board. I'm looking at San Fran.
So what about San Fran? Let's jump into San Fran. They got Jimmy. Garoppolo, like we talked about the quarterbacks last week in pressure.
Big year for him.
Big year for him.
Pressure for him.
You get after 8 games. You went all in. Like I don't know.
Hey,
like,
listen.
Is that the desperation for quarterbacks out there? But
you got to do something.
Let me tell you something though.
Belichick got him paid,
and I was just about to refer to that.
Belichick got him money when Belichick
he seen something. Yeah, what happened
That's what
was,
happened.
and
he anointed him.
we can agree or we can disagree. Okay, Belichick, Tom Brady was on his way out. As great as he is and what he's done, Belichick seen enough in these practices to say, this is my guy.
Montana
it's
Steve
time to go.
Montana Steve
This is my guy. So
yeah, exactly what happened was, and I seen in the preseason game, Jimmy G made some plays. He had pressure in his face.
He threw the
ball with pressure in his face with pain coming. I'm still going to throw it. So I see there, not Fritzy. You can tell somebody that has it or has NFL quality. Like when Dak played 2 years ago when he came in against I said, wait a minute, this guy
you saw something?
Yeah, you saw something. He looks the part. Like he looks like he can handle the situation. Exactly. I know with being in Dallas, you don't get a lot of creativity on offense or whatever.
Right.
So but and from the team falling apart when Romo was gone, he looked like, hey, okay, it's not too big for him.
It's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, he looked like this is not too big for him.
Right.
Like, definitely. And I think Jimmy G definitely looks that part, moving forward. But it's going to be about, okay, who's he throwing to?
Yeah.
It's a tough division. It's
offensive coordinator and everything.
And there's rivalries in there. Seattle's not.
The Rams are coming for him. I don't know. Seattle's coming for him.
Yeah.
Be ready.
The thing with Jimmy G, what made me I'm not a full believer on like I'm in this blog. We talk San Fran stuff, and it's just crazy people they talking about.
And this is your team now.
We only losing 2. Well, I'm a football fan first.
Okay.
When Jerry Rice left, when T.O. left, my friends said, "Yo, where you going at?" I'm San Fran. If I'm still a Laker, when Kobe leave, I'm here.
You're a Laker. You're a Laker. Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, I'm San Fran. So with Jimmy G, what made me like him was he was mic'd up. and when he was mic'd up, you can tell that he really listened to Belichick. He was really on the sideline,
it's
not
hard
just
not
walking
to
around.
listen.
Yeah, right.
But he wasn't just with a headset on. He was really paying attention.
Right.
He was really paying attention to Brady. He was watching Brady because when he talked, when he was mic'd up, he physically sounded like Brady. He came to the sideline last year, and he said, listen, the safeties are too wide. We're going straight up the middle.
Right.
And he throws a dart straight down the middle. He said they're too wide. Yeah. They're too wide.
They're on the outside of the hash on the numbers.
He said two. And I never heard that from any of my quarterbacks. So for me to hear that, it's like, okay, this boy's real polished. You know what I mean? Like he's real polished. He's really looking at it. He's not just trying to find the zone or whatever. He's paying attention to everything.
So back to, what we talked about around when it was time for him to leave New England. Right. The 49ers needed a quarterback. We know this. The call got made to Belichick, right?
Right.
Belichick told them everything they needed to know. Mm-hmm. I was ready to move on with Tom. Mm-hmm. He was going to be my guy.
Right.
That's why everybody's wondering, like, wait a second, this guy got $137 million. Right. Belichick put the stamp on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was.
So we saw what did he play? 6 games. We said he was 5-1 or something.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Belichick going to Frisco. Like what's
hey, you know something? You know something over there? We gotta have a talk.
Say something back to him.
What you say?
Somebody comment. Say something back to him.
I'll take a look at it. All right, hold on. Yeah, but nah, I think you going back. Like is Belichick going to Frisco? Like he's
Is that where you at? Is this where we went? Is this what we doing?
I mean, like it's California,
sunshine,
the wineries.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And to me though, looking at that division may be the toughest division because even with the Arizona's coming back. Yeah. Arizona has their running back. Arizona running back is like second to none. Like that running back is if we all talking about Bell and Gurley. That I think he's better.
I like him.
I think he's better than Gurley. I like him a lot because he's a real receiver. I watched him catch the ball.
Johnson?
Yeah, David Johnson.
I watched him catch the ball one hand on the sideline. Like this boy is a real receiver, running back. So. And then
there he is right there, David Johnson.
Yeah, that boy's tough, man.
He looked like he can do a few things.
Yeah, and he's 225 pounds.
Oh yeah, so
he's back.
They don't want if I'm a corner 185, I can't do nothing with that.
Yeah, and so he's physical, and he's coming back, so that's gonna help the Arizona out tremendously. And so me looking at the division, I think it's just too high expectations they putting on San Fran. That somebody said that they were the dark horse going to the Super Bowl. And
I like that. I like that. You don't mess with that.
I don't think it's. I just don't think it's ready yet. Like,
why you say that?
Let's get at least five games and talk that.
Listen, if you look at the schedule, right?
Yeah.
I've seen teams that they competed against. I like the attitude. The attitude was, guess what? We come here to play football. I'm looking up top. We got John Lynch,
and it's easy to do it when you're not the expectation. The toughest part is to do it. The expectations on the Rams. The Rams got all the expectations. Right. They made the playoffs last year.
When I look at teams, in a situation the 49ers are right. Mm-hmm. I look at how you building, and I love how they're building. Mm-hmm. Like they are like, okay, I'm getting some guys on defense that. We're not playing any games. Like we trying to get you out of here on third down.
Right.
We gonna hit. We gonna tackle. You gonna have to figure it out because this is what we do. And we got a quarterback that I believe in, and like we talked about, Belichick signing. There's something there,
Right.
So I like what they doing.
I'm gonna hit with Matt. Matt, yeah, you talking about the backup quarterback for the Rams, their situation.
Matt Logan
in the building, frequent listener. I think the one of the keys you build your defense up for that. The best thing for a quarterback is I need a touchdown and 2 field goals, 3 field goals, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think
when the defense scores, we love it. Everybody loves it.
And that's the situation now. Like right now, like with the Eagles, with with the injury to their backup quarterback, who may be their starter, and Nate Sudfeld, who we talked to and spoke with, interviewed, came in the throw. So it's really tough to try to do it with your backup quarterback, which the Eagles did last year was amazing with your backup quarterback. But that's what defense does for you. While he's getting his legs together, you only need 8 points offensively.
Right,
Like,
right,
and that's where defense comes in.
And I think that, responding to Matt is like, okay, I don't think there's a coach or a defense going into a season saying if somebody gets hurt. Now, they might say, okay, we might grab a guy just because his history is not, but I don't think they bank on, they waiting around like, man, we don't need to put this guy out here because if he gets hurt. But that's what insurance is all about. And we can refer back to that as just like the Eagles, okay? They didn't know what to do with these quarterbacks. Now they got some of the best insurance in the world. You know what I mean? You got Foles, you got Wentz. Like, your problems, if you had problems, they change a little bit now.
Yeah.
And guess what? Through all of this, you might be able to find something out that you didn't know before, with all the stuff that's happening, Right.
Well, let's talk about the Cardinals for a second. With Josh Rosen, young Corbett, they got Sammy slinging. I make all the change. I haven't done much. Bradford. New head coach, Steve Wilkes, coming in. Defensive coordinator from the Carolina Panthers coming over to be head coach of the team, taking a defensive coordinator. What do you look? And one of the things about the Cardinals, they've always had defense, running game for a while. When they had substantial quarterback play, they've been good. Going back to Kirk when they made the Super Bowl run, lost to the Steelers. So what do you guys think about the Cardinals? Do you think Rosen's going to start for them, or are they going to go with Sammy? They got their running back that's all world, 6'1", 225 pounds. Ain't nothing he can't do. He can catch. He's like a big Marshall Faulk. He's like a Marshall Faulk 2.0. Yeah. Definitely.
That boy's tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about the Cardinals? Because the Cardinals are kind of like the forgotten team in that division. I mean, Seattle has a drama. What's going on? The Rams went all in, and Frisco seems to be the flavor of the month. Like everybody. So now you got the Cardinals who are kind of there. And they're on. I would pair like right now, like on par with like the Redskins in the NFC East. People talk about Dallas; they're popular. The Eagles are defending world champions. OG Beckham and Saquon on the Giants with Eli coming back.
Watch the Giants, man. I'm telling you, mark it down. Mark it down.
So definitely, you got the Cardinals are just like there, like nobody's like the Cardinals,
which is a good thing. Nobody's worried about you.
Right. Yeah,
they're not preparing for you. You sneak up on them and boom.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play because I like the play of with no expectations. I really like a solid team that's done well, the good organization, and then you like right now, like who's everybody? They're not worried about us,
right?
Right. Like, definitely. I mean, your interdivision games are going to be your interdivision games.
They're going to be tough.
They're going to be tough, but when you play outside the division.
You already marked off as a win, a must win.
Yeah. Look at the schedule. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We got them coming to town, especially if they come into your town.
Outside of the division, like going to Arizona or playing Arizona, people weren't really saying, okay, like we're getting hyped to play them.
Right.
They're the team to beat. Going forward. I mean, that's going to be interesting for them. And talk about one of the great players, Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh man.
And it's funny because
gotta love him. Gotta love him.
I'm in numerous.
Professional. Professional.
I should have a thing up for him.
No
props up. No disrespect. Larry Fitzgerald. But the funny
Hall of Famer.
The funny thing about Larry Fitzgerald is great receiver, and has not played with a lot of great quarterbacks.
Season, 2
But see, that's the thing.
But when you sit down and talk about all-time great receivers, who's the best receivers of all time, Larry Fitzgerald's name is never really brought up. He's kind of like the Tim Duncan of the NFL.
Guess what, Soon? Guess what? It's something about quiet guys that it punishes them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you loud, like people remember you for being loud and great. Like why can't you be quiet and be great?
Yeah.
Like just think about some of our guys that we talk about wide receivers that and our history shows that they are the prima donnas and they're loud
diva position,
people. And they're loud people, but listen, we can go out there. We can find some quiet guys that were just as great as our loud guys, right?
Yeah.
they're out here. Just like Jerry Rice wasn't a loud person.
Yeah, very
he
detailed.
wasn't.
Very, but
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, quiet.
They
Still water runs deep.
Like even Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne. They just. It's just not
they
about.
All are better than Chad Johnson. But Chad is
and he's the loudest. And he's the loudest. But we gonna remember him. You know?
Yeah.
So,
but like there's a saying, the empty wagon makes the most noise, and that's what was told to me a long time ago.
You said it, and it's true. So you're just not saying it.
Yeah, I mean, but like Larry Fitzgerald, like I'm in like numerous sports
groups
on Facebook.
Love him.
And we talk about all-time receivers. We talk about all this. And Larry Fitzgerald's name is never brought up of all-time receiver.
It's a shame.
I mean, he goes through years with one drops or two with two drops.
That's all.
And
HOF.
And when not without a great quarterback to throw to him. Definitely. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna get into this University of Maryland tragedy. Dealing with the death of one of their players at the University of Maryland. Their coach is Dirk and his currently
sad
on suspension right now as they go through and try to look and see exactly what has happened. We're all talking about sports and things of that nature, and we'll be back with Sports Talk live from the ranch.
In a
minute, we'll be right back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
We back.
We back. Sports Talk Live from the Ranch. Jonathan Moore, Duke Ronald Evans in the building. How y'all doing today? Guys, we've been closing out last segment. We want to get into something a little serious. Not a little serious, very serious. We talk about the University of Maryland. Right now they have a situation where 19-year-old offensive lineman Jordan McNair collapsed and died. He was in the hospital.
Very sad, very sad.
He was
Tragic.
in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then he passed away. The Durkin, the University of Maryland football coach, is currently on suspension while they do an investigation and find out exactly what's going on. University of Maryland has taken full responsibility morally and professionally for the death of the student that happened. He was running sprints and collapsed. Early reports saying he did not receive proper medical attention early enough. Heat stroke, his body temperature was very high. Working out big offensive lineman. His parents, Jordan McNair's parents, have called for the firing of Coach Durkin. They have called for him to be fired, after the death of their son because of, just program negligence. And there's been a lot of reports about just the overall toxic nature and the overall culture on the Maryland football team as not being a positive one. And it gets into a discussion that we have all the time versus old school, new school, tough on kids, not tough on kids. Kind of reminds me of a lot of things that was going on with the Rutgers basketball team. The kind of interaction they were having with kids. And Duke, you talked about that before earlier, the interaction. But at the same time, you have to be, safety conscious.
Yes.
Of your athletes. I mean, I remember a time when water was a reward. Out there back in the day when you were in football camp. And now,
old school.
Old school. Do it right, do it light. Do it wrong, you do it long. So get it right, and you can get something to drink. And but times have definitely changed with all the medical discovery, CTE, everything going on with football. And you have a tragic event where this young man lost his life, and looks like early in the investigation he didn't receive proper medical care, and the culture of the camp was pushing people to the limit. I know the University of Maryland football program hasn't been what it's been, and he's getting in there and trying to change the culture, trying to make people tough and play. They're in the Big Ten now, and move forward. But at the same time, you have to be aware of the safety of your players and health. And this gets to the question we talk all the time. This guise of collegiate athletics and what it's really about. Guys are trying to win. This is livelihoods. Yeah. You're taking 19, 18-year-olds on scholarship. They're trying to get a college education, but you're pushing them in order to keep your salary or go on to $2 million a year type salary. And you're going to push kids and push your players and push everything because, look, I want to be a head Maryland football coach at what it pays and professionally, and it may move me on to another platform or another level, maybe even to the NFL where we're talking multiple millions of dollars. So, but the people that you're coaching, they're in it for a college education. So just give me your feedback on the overall culture of the situation here in Maryland and what you think.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to Iron Mike Starks and Jamar Smith, Terrapins, University of Maryland Terrapins. Shout out to them first and foremost. But also, I mean, let's get into this tragic thing. We talked about old school. We talked about pushing through. We talked about all that. Me and being experienced with, athletics and trying to get in shape and all that good stuff. Hot, right?
Yeah.
Running in the hot, exerting yourself. Running in the heat, exerting yourself is good, but it's bad. Why? Let's take a look at this young man right here. Offensive lineman.
19 years old.
So the LBs are what?
225, 230.
Okay, so
he's up in the 300s, close to it.
Right, so he's in the 300s. Okay, it's a difference between the guy that's 180 and the guy that's in the threes, right? It just is because it's a weight difference. Okay, now we in the same heat, but it is a difference for you than it is me. So that's probably not taken into consideration. You know, you over there practicing with the offensive lineman and defensive lineman are practicing with them. The corners are together. There's whatever. Okay. The heat is the heat, and we adapt to it. Some of us better than others, whatever the case. I always like the hot gym.
Yeah, I like
when it was time to warm up and all this. It didn't bother me, but
I feel you. Like I hate when they have the fan on at the gym.
Yeah.
Right now, I work out to extend life, not really the challenge.
Right.
not to go to the Olympics or anything like
that.
Right. But yeah, like when they had the big fan on at the gym, I'm like, man, get the fan off. I'm trying to build up a lather.
Right.
I'm trying to get lathered up.
Exactly.
Like, you know.
But like I said, what I like is what I like. What another person may be suffering through, and you know, typically these offensive linemen, this is not the first time that we've seen somebody that
Minnesota Vikings
passed away, because of heat exhaustion. Okay. With that being said, okay, I mean, things happen, and what had happened to him was, I mean, it's nothing worse in the world probably for, you know, the family. I mean, you send your kid out to go to college to full scholarship, and you get a phone call, and he's been training since, you know, pee-wee, right? And you get that. But what I can say is, and it sounds like to me like I don't think that any of these coaches, there's nothing done purposely. It's a lot of pressure in these positions, right?
Exactly. It's big time,
work
$1 million
hard. Like these other,
stuff.
These other coaches at these other schools, right? It's about not letting them get a nod up on you,
Advantage.
Right? Yeah, you want to be able to say, you know what? If they worked out for 2.5 hours, you want to say, you know what? We're going to do it for 2 hours and 45 minutes, right? That's just the nature of the business we in. But at the same time, right?
The conditioning piece. Vince Lombardi, fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Right. So, you know, for me is all that stuff has to be monitored. You don't remember. See, what's happening now is, what used to happen then was the fact that, you know, this no pain, no gain. Like, really? Like, come on. You can go in the gym now. You can get an hour in, and you can accomplish anything that you wanted to accomplish in that hour, right? So this 2 hours, this 3 hours, this 4, and this 5 hours, like, let's be serious. Like, those days are done.
Funny you talk about that. Chuck Noll, Steeler coach, 4 championships, 4 Super Bowl rings in the 70s, before Jonathan's time. This was before they were the Intimate Team. They called it quits early. Chuck Noll was like, "We're not going to be here all night. We got families. Like, you know, we got talent."
Which is surprisingly from back in the 70s. Like, who's saying that? Like,
saying it? Yeah. And the thing about it is, and you think, like, okay, when you see some of this play calling, this design, like, what are y'all doing up all night? Are y'all really actually coaching, or where y'all at? Like, when you,
I think it's a condition. I think what it is
I'm
is
putting
okay.
in the time. It's the aesthetics of it. Like, you know.
Right. And then you add in,
but
this conditioning piece where it's the fourth quarter, guys. We can't let them get a push on us.
Yeah, I think John Wooden said, "Don't mistake activity for work." Like, just because you're active don't mean you're actually working and putting things. Don't get those two things confused. Right. You know, great coaches.
So you know what? And I'm gonna let Jonathan speak after I put this out there. Now the kid, we at heat stroke, right? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
They gave him a liver. His organs started to shut down because he was at 106. Whatever.
Yeah. So, you know, my thing is that as a university, as a coach,
can the coach survive this?
Because I think that's one of those things where
his parents, Jordan McNair's parents, have called for the coach's firing.
I mean, and I understand because this is why. Yeah. This is why I understand. Okay, all right. As athletes, we all been there before. We've been so tired and we've been so exhausted that guess what? We don't know if we gonna fall out. We got to keep pushing. It's a mental thing, right? Yeah. But your body is your body, right? It's gonna it's only gonna go as far as it's gonna go, right? But the problem that I had with this, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the minute something happens, right? Whether it's a broken ankle, sprained ankle, separated shoulder, whatever. Now, in this case, it was heat exhaustion, okay? Now, I don't know, once he was...
The talk is they were like, get your up.
And that's the problem I have. And that's the problem I have because...
Go. Stop being a...
But see, this is the problem.
That's the culture of... Because they already fired a strength and conditioning coach.
Right.
Like, he's been let go. But that's what the culture was. You fall
right. Right. And that's a part of, like we said, a part of our culture. So the problem that I have with all of that is, okay, right, if you're running or whatever you're doing and you sprain your ankle, okay, you go down, right? You separate your shoulder, you're down. Yeah. If you stop what you're doing because you're tired, it changes the game for me. Yeah. Because now I'm like, okay, they've been in conditioning for a while because the season's about to start.
Yeah, you usually come in. It's off-season conditioning. You come in. I think he was a freshman.
Right. So you might be in some sort of shape. You might not. But whatever the case may be, if you let me know that this is not comfortable for you, I'm going to pull you over to the side. I'm not going to run you until decide that you need to pass out, okay? Now, from my understanding is once these complications started, you weren't able to do anything, all right? And now they're saying that after a problem started, it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours before somebody medically got involved. That's the problem that I have right there. You know what I'm saying?
And
that's the problem that I have.
And this culture, and the culture has definitely changed. Like you can see that in 1983, 84,
right.
Like,
but it wasn't. We talked about it being maybe if it's an ankle sprain, you go down. If it's a broken, you go down. But if none of that is wrong, and then you come to me and say like, Coach, look, my chest, I got a headache.
I'm delirious.
All that are signs of like, wait a second, dehydration. You start there, but then you let him go over there and you sit, and he might be over there for an hour and 2.5 hours. Then he passes out. I got a problem with that part,
And they said that's the culture they were trying to build. With the strength conditioning coach and everything like that, they're trying to come up. Maryland football hasn't been good over the last few years. They haven't been up there the way that you are in the past. Randy White, Turpin, great Cowboy, but they haven't. And they're saying, this is another mark. If you go back to Len Bias,
his death, not the Lenny.
So they're talking about another.
Still hurts me. Still hurts me to this day.
I'm biased from Maryland. Great poster, great, better. The best player I've seen come out, and that's including Jordan.
Oh yeah,
the best player I've seen come out of the ACC
absolutely.
Died overdose. But they're saying it's another a Maryland tragedy, and it may change how that changed the look on drugs. Can you use this? This is going to take a look at the culture of athletics and the culture of sports as we look today. As the talk is, do we play these players or definitely not play these players or whatever? And especially when the coaches are getting paid and these 18, 19-year-olds are about my livelihood, about my 6-figure livelihood, about my 7-figure livelihood. You're going to push people.
In America.
You're going to push people to the limits. You know what I mean? Jonathan, your comments.
Yeah, like you was just saying, you're going to push people to the limit because you're going to go to the limits also, because of the money situation. You're going to go to the limits, like you just said, my 6-figure, my family, my grandkids I'm trying to support. But at the same time, it's like, when you say like how you were saying like about my ankle, if I sprain my ankle, even if I just mess it up a little bit, I'm able to sit down on the sideline.
Yeah.
You know, if
we know it's not.
Yeah.
That's what we know that it is.
Yeah,
you
if
know?
my knee get hurt. But the thing about where if you say I'm tired, nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
You know, and you know, I don't think the coach should be fired. I mean, he could be, should. It's a death, so I understand. But I don't
It's
think
tough. It's
tough.
When you had somebody die, and
Yeah,
and here's the part: you had somebody die, and the parents are calling for you to be fine.
It's bad.
But see, I think that the reason why they probably call him for his firing is because how it was handled.
The handle.
Like I said, when you go, if you're
everything
an athlete,
they did, if you look at the respect, like, look, we rushed him right to the hospital.
Yes,
when we
exactly.
called MC.
Exactly.
We stopped practice.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you know,
Right.
yeah.
You can't tell me that my son
Right.
Told you he was having chest pains, and I'm not saying that this is
Right.
what happened, but if he tells you, okay, coach, I'm having chest pains, you say, oh no, get over there and sit down, take a break and get some water.
Yeah.
Then you're in negligence because an hour and a half, then I fell out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
See,
saying?
that's
Now
what
it's
I
your
think.
fault.
It's definitely their fault, but I just don't think that nobody believed that it was that. You know, when somebody say they're tired or whatever, you just look, oh man, you just
Right,
big,
right,
you
right.
lazy,
Right.
you're
That's
not
the
trying
whole
to do
point of
something,
the.
you're
That's
not
the whole
doing this.
point of where you have to. That's where you bring in the medical professionals.
Right.
See,
Right.
that's. But see, and you can go two ways. Somebody could be trying to push through.
Right.
That's why
Right.
in corners. That's why we have adults in boxing corners. The boxer, the fighter, the warrior's like, I'm gonna keep going. Nah, son, nah.
Yeah.
This is too much.
That's
So
why they got
we
the
stop
white
it.
towel, right?
Yeah,
Right.
you throw that in. Like,
Throw
you
it
know,
in.
somebody got to be looking at. You could be pushing yourself. It could have been signs of him earlier looking like he's fatigued, whatever. But he's pushing. I'm pushing through.
Right.
I'm a terrible. You fall out, you know. And but with all this other stuff coming out about the culture of Maryland football, what was going on with the strength training coaches they let go, and with everything else going on, that's the part I think that has the parents move to like, yo, wait a minute.
Right.
Well, getting in kids' faces and this all kind of
Always
all kind of language used. We all know that. We all been in
Right.
the
We've
huddle,
been there.
in the locker room stuff.
Right.
You know that what goes on.
Everybody
We all know.
you
We
can
all
punch
know
your
that.
chest.
Yeah,
We all
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like, you know, like
Grab your
you
face
know,
mask and grab you,
your
smacked
face
upside the head.
This
Yeah,
is-
all that.
You know, I coaches high school. This is a bleeping street war.
Yeah.
Don't come back to the sideline talking about him holding you.
Yeah.
Get him off you. That's
Right,
all I.
right.
All I
That's
need
it.
to know
Figure
is
it out.
figure it out. Figure it out. So we all been there, but I think with the 21st century, and with the health and medical eye that's already put on football,
Yes.
from CTE, from other things that's going on with football. Football already has that eye on it.
Right.
That the conditioning piece and with heat exhaustion, everything going on. That hey, you have to be right when somebody collapses or somebody's dizzy. You got to be right on it.
Gotta be
It's
right
not the
on it,
time
man.
to be like, get up.
And I don't want,
whatever.
and it's the thing is, you don't want to. It's a tough situation, man. It's really a tough. You don't want to come down on these coaches, but
But you gotta
there's
err
too
on the
many
side-
emotional
Somebody
things
gotta-
involved. Somebody
gotta
passed
take the
away.
fall.
You know what I mean?
Somebody has to be a talk.
Somebody passed away.
You know what I mean?
man.
That's why it's probably going to happen. He's probably going to get rid of it. But
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think that was his mindset.
Right,
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
right.
I don't
He-
think his
he-
mindset-
he
I don't
probably
think
didn't do
maliciously. I
anything.
don't think he maliciously came in there and be like, "Look, I don't give a damn."
I think
Right.
He wasn't like Drago.
He didn't
if he
do
dies,
anything
he
different
dies.
than any
You
of
know
the
what I mean? Like, he
coaches
wasn't
are doing out here. You know what I mean?
Right. I
Yeah.
think his mindset was
Gotta build this
let
program.
that baby sit over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He-
He's young.
Yeah.
Said he was a freshman.
Yeah,
Let him
19.
sit over
He
there.
never saw the type of conditioning that we have
Right.
because he was in high school. We gotta get him
right,
together.
And I'm pretty sure that coach had a season or somebody that went through the same situation.
Right.
And-
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
And he let lay out
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah,
He let
yeah,
lay
yeah.
out
Right.
last year.
Right.
And he came back. He
Yes.
might have came back in the middle of the practice, right towards the end or the next day. But I'm sure the same situation happened. You know what I mean? It just
In the
when
athletic
something
world,
go wrong,
yeah.
it's just that's the problem. Like all this stuff, like people can be passing out every day
Right.
in sports. We don't hear about it because they're not dying.
Right.
We don't even hear about
Right.
them dying.
Exactly.
You know, that's just like with the
But what kind of
tackling,
medical
with the-
attention
Right.
you get?
with
But
the
the hour,
padding up.
but
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen is the hour of medical attention. Maryland has already jumped in and said, "Look, we take moral and all
Right.
responsibility. What happened to this young man that comes in?" And I think at anything, it's going to set a precedent. I think where, hey, look, somebody pass out, they pass out. Look,
Yeah.
you got to go get it. But at the same time, like we said, this is big business.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
corporations. You know, we trying to say it's, you know, college athletics and everything like this. And people are like, look, we got to push. I don't want our culture to be soft.
Yeah.
Like the last thing, I think it comes down to a machismo thing. Like, look, our culture isn't soft. We're not a soft university.
Right.
And I think that was the reputation that, like when I played at Academy Park or whatever, we hit, win, lose, or draw, we're physical, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like whatever,
That's exactly
like,
what
we're not dirty,
want.
we're not cheap.
No matter
but
offense, defense, you even want the kicker to be physical nowadays, right?
If you beat us, lose to us, Sunday morning you're gonna be like,
play
these cats. You know what I mean?
Right,
like we are a hard-nosed football team, whatever. And I think that's what he was trying to do, but.
Hey, whether you are and it you know, in the world of sports, man, this could have been any of us, right? You if you're a head coach, this could have been you pushing your players, you're trying to get the best out of them.
You don't think the situation
it's just
was
sad.
Pan out the way.
I don't think it's malice. I don't think he's going to be brought up on
exactly.
like manslaughter charges or
Right.
like that. He's not going to be up there. He's like, look, we have practice.
You know, it doesn't have to do with any ethnic groups or any of that. It's just a sad situation. I feel for both, man. You can't tell me.
I think and I don't know. Don't forget, but he has to be heard about this too. The coach is hurt. Like he like
it's nothing
like somebody
that,
like a child has died on my watch. When I go into that when you
go to college
and step into somebody's house recruiting them.
Absolutely.
Your son, your daughter is going to be under my watch, whatever. Come to me. And I'm making you a promise.
You already talked to the parents.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of your son. Your son's not going to be hungry, but this is how we do things. Nobody's waiting for the call to talk about guess what happened to you. Nobody's that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and even in the initial meeting, for the parents or their son to commit to Maryland, felt good for you to do so. It just wasn't like, okay, you called me, I'm going. So, and with that being said, we can't throw these things on the coaches all the time. You know what I mean? It's just not, they listen, man, they got a lot. Look, how would you feel
pay grade though.
If you had to babysit 80 people?
That's the pay grade though.
Like, and they're teenagers.
When you sign up for it, the pay grade, the pay grade is definitely definitely what you get involved with. He signed up for that. Like what the deal is. You can go pop one or whatever.
Yeah, and we the sports is just so barbaric. That's even like, and nobody says nothing until something goes wrong. Yeah. That's even like padding up. They're not supposed to pad up till 2-3 weeks ago.
Right.
They was pad up 4 months ago.
Well, that's the
full contact.
That's
but
the
remember,
advantage.
somebody got hurt. Somebody got killed or hurt. And then it came out that people were, practicing padded up. But then the people that's trying to make the practice squad and stuff, they said, man, we've been playing practice all for months now. But they weren't allowed.
David Bennett had made a comment.
Oh, David Bennett, WVSU, West Virginia State lineman, who's still squatting in his garage right now. Shout out to David Bennett. He's a warrior.
Warrior.
He's still squat. He might be squatting right now in his garage.
Dave, I heard your comment, whatever, and I don't want to be that cynical. Like, I mean, I think like you get involved with
what
Stu. He was saying that the coaches really don't care. It's all about selfish gain.
I disagree, Dave. And
it's a big.
Dave,
don't get me wrong.
Disagree, and I still love you, Dave.
It's big time sports, and it's about money. Like I said,
what's up, Dave?
I said pushing kids because it's a 6-figure salary, 7-figure salary. But at the same time, the coach, you got to have some feeling for your players.
Without a doubt.
Dave, I'm with you somewhat. I think the coach doesn't care that you're tired, but the coach cares that somebody died. The coach doesn't care that you're tired. Get up, stop crying like a baby, effing baby, whatever. He want to say, throw a little water on his face, make him get up. Yeah, I believe that in the coach, Dave, but I don't think the coach said, oh, he's gonna die. Let him die out here. Like I can't give him that.
But I think at the same time, like I've always said, I've said this numerous times with Warren Sapp at the University of Miami and their head football coach at the time, I forget his name. When Warren Sapp was doing weed, their coach was. If Warren Sapp was getting 4 sacks on weed, the coach was gonna be like, Warren get his weed. Like, look, I'm trying to go to the pros. Like, the whole 9 yards. Like, I'm trying to go whatever these players need to play well because I'm not trying to be here at the University of Miami. I'm trying to take the next step to the NFL and dominate and win wins.
Absolutely.
And, like, if somebody's getting paid extra money by a booster or if somebody is ladies of the night are coming to the dorm room or whatever is building our program up, and the next thing you know, I'm making 6-7 figures in the next level, whatever.
Right.
We got to deal with it. But I think the overall general well-being of the players to a extent not to die, whatever, Like, I think if somebody gets hurt, but look, we got another top-notch recruit that's going to jump in for you. That's life. We got to move on and push on. But I still think they want people to be healthy. I think they want people to be alive.
Absolutely. Hey, listen.
When you get out of the program.
At the end of the day, it's a business, but I do think that some of these coaches care, and I don't think that they want to see people perish in doing this. But, Dave, guess what? No matter what's being said, and we can agree to disagree, I still love you, brother, and I look forward to seeing you. And I don't know where I'm going to see you or when I'm going to see you, but I look forward to seeing you.
Definitely.
West Virginia State University, brother.
WVSU. Okay, West Virginia State University. Look, guys, great show today. Tune in.
Wonderful show.
Wonderful show. We'll jump in next week with a couple more divisions out of the NFL. Get to check out some more preseason games. The boys play tonight at 7. Bengals, that'll be aired to check in. And look, in about a month, we got a fight coming up. Little boxing. Jonathan's boy, Canelo, Mr. Roids. Mr.
Roids.
Mr. I need that extra juice.
Extra juice.
I ate all the tainted meat in Mexico.
He didn't know it was tainted.
They injected the meat for him to get it, so he can't say that I injected it. I got you. That's what we on
versus
now.
Triple G, who could be 50. Like, we know the whole thing coming up. We're going to talk about that.
You can be 50 and knock somebody out.
Yeah,
listen.
We live
you
from the
that
ranch.
Ring, we don't want to hear nothing about 50.
When we live, live from the ranch, we'll be here tonight. We'll be talking. We'll be going round by round.
Oh yeah.
We don't have the rights to display the show, but we'll give you your expertise on what's going round by round during that big fight night. But guys, thank you. We're going to jump on out of here, and as always,
welcome all the time.
Definitely from the ranch. We live talking sports, life, culture, all different things around sports. And we will get you next week back with the Sporting Life.
See you next
week.
We out.
Peace.
We gone.